Last night was day 6 of March Madness, day 2 of the Sweet 16, and by the end of this video, our Elite 8 is going to be completely set. It's a bittersweet time of year. I absolutely love the first weekend, but I'm telling you, in this video, there's some amazing basketball being played, and if you stay until the end, the last game comes down to the final play. Let's dive in. Our first game of the day takes place between 6 seed Ole Miss and 2 seed Michigan State. Ole Miss is looking to get to their first ever Elite 8 in school history. Meanwhile, Michigan State is looking to get back there for the first time since 2019. And in this tournament, Ole Miss has impressed greatly. They've been up double digits both of the first 2 games at halftime. And in this one, they lead the entire first half. Michigan State does make a run at the end, but Ole Miss is up 33-31 at half. In the second, Ole Miss runs this lead up to 9, 48-39. And Tom Izzo made it a point to say that this was the toughest defensive team his teams have played in years. A Jaden Akins layup and a Jace Richardson 3 makes this just a 1-point game, 48-47. And in case you don't know, Jace Richardson is the son of NBA player Jason Richardson, who also went to Michigan State and helped his Spartans win a national title 25 years ago. This game's going to go back and forth the rest of the second half. Sean Padula hits a 3 to put Ole Miss up 2, but Jeremy Fears gets a bucket right back, 61-61. Jace Richardson's layup puts Michigan State up 2. Ole Miss has a couple free throws, and this Jaden Akins floater puts Michigan State up 65-63. Ole Miss cannot convert on the offensive end, and now they need a stop with about 58 seconds left. But on the slip, Carson Cooper finishes inside, and Michigan State is now up 4. Sean Padula quickly comes down and gets a bucket, and now they have to play the foul game. But unfortunately for Ole Miss, Michigan State makes all of their free throws, about Jaden Akins and Trey Holloman, and that's all she wrote. Michigan State wins 73-70. A Tom Izzo team has another chance at a Final Four. Unfortunately for Ole Miss, that Elite 8 appearance is going to have to come at a later date. Outside of all the off-the-court stuff, Chris Beard has done a phenomenal job on the court in his second year at Ole Miss, but they do lose a lot of seniors. Sean Padula, a senior, finishes with 24 points on 9 for 17 from the field. Matthew Murrell had 13. Malik Dia had 11. On Michigan State side, Jace Richardson finished with 20 points on 6 for 8 from the field. Cohen Carr had 15. Jeremiah Fears had 6 assists, and Jaden Akins finished with 13. Like I said during the recap, Tom Izzo made it a point multiple times to say this Ole Miss defense was the toughest defense he's played in years. And honestly, just looking at the box score, the biggest difference in this game was Michigan State's ability to get to the free throw line. They finished 19 for 22 from the charity stripe, while Ole Miss finished just 9 for 10. Our second game of the day takes place between 2 bitter SEC rivals, the number 2 seeded Tennessee Volunteers and the 3 seeded Kentucky Wildcats. Keep in mind, Kentucky is without Jackson Robinson due to injury for the season, but during the regular season, Kentucky beat Tennessee in the both times they played, so this should be a very good game. But honestly, instead of that, it just wasn't. Tennessee pretty much dominated from the start, leading 43-28 at halftime, with Chaz Lanier, their best player, not even shooting it that well. And in the second half, the closest Kentucky gets it is like maybe 12 points, but this game was never within reach. Tennessee cruises to an Elite 8 for back-to-back years now, with a chance to go to the Final Four for the first time in their program's history. Zakai Ziegler finishes with 18 points and 10 assists. Chaz Lanier, 17 points and 4 rebounds. And then Jordan Gainey, 16 points off the bench. As for Kentucky, Otega Owe only had 13. Lamont Butler finishes a fantastic career with 18 points and 6 rebounds. And then Kobe Brea did not play well tonight. Sad to see him leave though. But in this first year, Mark Pope has shown he can run the Kentucky basketball program. They're going to be just fine for the future. But this Tennessee team is very good. A hell of a job from Rick Barnes this year. And again, just like Walter Clayton Jr. with Florida being at Iona before, it's a reason why I love the portal. Chaz Lanier, 4 years at North Florida, and now has the chance to bring Tennessee to the Final Four for the first time in program history as the guy. Next up, we have the number 1 overall seed, Auburn, versus the 5th seeded Michigan Wolverines. An interesting tidbit about this game is that Danny Wolf, the 7-footer from Michigan, transferred to Michigan from Yale last year, and his Yale Bulldogs defeated Auburn, upsetting them in the first round of March Madness. This first half was very back and forth. Auburn's ahead 30-29 at the end of the half, but it's the big guys showing out early. Danny Wolf has 11, Janai Broome has 10 and 11 boards. And Danny continues right where he left off in the second half. Michigan goes on a run here, putting Auburn on their heels. A couple of buckets from Danny Wolf, plus a couple of Michigan free throws, puts them up 48-39 with 12:26 to go. It was at this point that Auburn had a decision to make, and they decided to go on an 18-2 run, largely led by Tahad Pettiford, the freshman lefty off the bench. Denver Jones is the one finishing this though. He has back-to-back threes and then this layup, and all of a sudden Auburn is up 59-50. At this point, that was kind of the game. Pettiford hits another three and an and one off this jumper, and Auburn wins 78-65. Janai Broome finishes with 22 and 16. Ironically enough, he fouls out of this game, and he has more offensive rebounds than defensive with 9 versus 7 defensive. And then Denver Jones, the transfer from Florida International, had a massive 20 points. Tahad Pettiford, the freshman, 20 points off the bench as well. On the Michigan side, Danny Wolf also finishes with 20 points. Vlad Golden goes just 2 for 9 from the field. Trey Donaldson just 2 for 9 from the field also. Roddy Gale Jr. just 2 for 7. Auburn moves on to face Michigan State in a battle of the top 2 seeds in that region in the Elite Eight on Sunday. Our final game of the day, number 1 seed Houston versus the 4-seeded Purdue Boilermakers. Fletcher Lawyer and Milos Uzan are carrying their teams in this first half, and both are in double figures early. Shockingly, Purdue is up 31-29 at half, but Houston's offense gets rolling. This Uzan 3 puts them up 10 with 8 minutes to go, but Purdue battles all the way back. This Heidi 3 on an assist from Braden Smith. By the way, he had 15 assists tonight, makes it a 4-point game. A couple TKR free throws make it a 2-point game. LJ Cryer hits his first 3-pointer and second made field goal of the night. He was 1 for 11 from the field before this. 60-55 Houston. An insane Braden Smith pass for his 14th assist of the night. 2 TKR, 60-57. And then this Camden Heidi 3 again ties the game with 35 seconds to go. Purdue, I'm so impressed with how they've battled in this game. It has taken a ton of guts. Houston is so tough. They're so scrappy. But here we are with another Sweet 16 game coming down to the final possession. Uzan misses this jumper, but with 2 seconds to go, it goes out of bounds off Purdue. Houston has one final chance with an out of bounds play. Kelvin Sampson is one of the greatest coaches in college basketball, and look at this play he draws up in the timeout. Uzan inbounds it to Roberts, who dumps it right back to him for the lay-in. Purdue completely forgets about the inbounder. Braden Smith misses this prayer as time expires, and Houston wins an incredible game of basketball, 62-60. I don't even know what I can say about that play Kelvin Sampson drew up. He said there was 3 options on it. They took away the first one. That was the second read, and they had just ran it yesterday in practice. Impeccable execution. For Purdue, Trey Kaufman-Renn finishes with just 14 points, 5 for 12 from the field. That has to be the worst field goal percentage he's had all year. Houston's bigs really did bother him inside with their physicality. Braden Smith, only 7 points, but 15 assists. This guy was getting doubled and blitzed towards the end of the game, and he still found multiple teammates for threes and dump-offs. Camden Heidi, 2 very huge threes late in that one. Fletcher Lawyer finishes with 16 points. He had 12 of those, I think, in that first half, which was massive for them. They're not in that first half without him. But overall, Purdue shoots just 8 for 27 from 3, and guys like Miles Colvin and CJ Cox had to hit more open threes. Braden Smith was serving them up on platters for them. On the Houston side, Jawan Roberts finishes with 12 boards. Milos Uzan finishes with, I believe, was a career high. Honestly, it's midnight. I'm not going to check. 22 points, 6 assists, 8 for 17 from the field. Sharp finished with 17 points. LJ Cryer just 2 for 13 from the field, 5 points. And there you have it. The Elite Eight is finally set. Tomorrow, we have Florida versus Texas Tech, and then Duke versus Alabama. I'm so excited for both of those games. Sunday, we have Auburn versus Michigan State and Tennessee versus Houston. All 1s and 2s except for Texas Tech being a 3. But I'm telling you guys, these are incredible, incredible, incredible teams. Honestly, probably the best 8 teams in college basketball, if I'm being real. Thank you so much for watching this one, and as always, we'll see ya on the hardwood.